She is the international author, speaker, naturopathic nutritionist, uh, fertility and lactation specialist. Sandy upholds the version of each human being to know who they truly are, while she gathers the conscious collectively to initiate the journey into a sustainable world to create simple ways better forward. Over to you, Sandy, because people are waiting to hear you.
So thank you very, very much. I thank Weef and She Real, She Boy, and of course yourself, Sveta, for inviting me along to speak today. You've asked me to speak, and I've chosen to speak on the reality of success and how we move through our lives to progress to our well-being. So it comes and goes, as we all know. So first of all, I'd just like to backtrack. You know, we're all born, we all are children. Children ask questions. Now, why do they ask questions? They're asking questions. They want to orientate themselves in the world. They want to know how they fit in, how they can, you know, how to be, and, you know, how to survive in the family and in the environment around them. They also express their imagination and, you know, we could call it visions as we get older, but our imagination. And how many times do we know that it gets squashed? We put it to bed. There's nothing else for us to do. We have to abide and we have to learn how to be in the world to survive. So how do we open that up? Now, I just want to talk a little bit about success, and the reality of success is different for everyone, as you all know. You know, my success and how I perceive it is not yours or anyone else's. So it's a very individual, I'm going to say ideal, but it's also something that we live by from our heart. So we've put our visions to bed, going back to being children. We get prodded, we get poked, and we are pushed to the limit. And sometimes we still don't see it and we don't see our worth. This happens to us through our life. It starts when we're young. So one of my things that I do is to help new parents to see, as their children grow, to please listen to them. They're your biggest teachers. So moving on from there, if we don't express our heart's expression, if we're not allowed to speak our heart's expression, how can we move into a world where it's going to be any different? It's going to be small and just pushed and guided along by those in authority. What happens if we don't express our heart? When you wake up and you go, I have to do this. If I don't do this, I'm just going to die. It's at that breaking point, at that moment when you go, I have to do something. I have to take action. So now we're at the stage where there's action to take. There's no choice. So this happens to men and women, but I'm tailoring this to women because as we grow, the same things happens to us as we're children. Women are often discounted and they go, yes, that's your lovely idea. Back you go home, you know, to look after your children or whatever is going on in your culture. It's very different in different cultures, as we know, but the theme runs like a red line around the world. So I just want to go through what happened to me in my life very, very briefly so that you understand how I've come to my success. So I was born in London, came to Australia at 12 and a half. I've married, had 2 children, now have 3 beautiful grandchildren, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world. There's been lessons in it galore. But in that time, I lost my art of questioning. Now, as children, we, as I said before, we question and we go, that doesn't sound right. What am I going to do about that? How do I have to be? But as we get older, we're in more control about what we can change and what we can do. further on, I had my children and I got to that magic age of 33 when I woke up one day and thought, what am I doing? I have 2 children and a husband and a nice home. This isn't what I'm meant to be doing. This is not it. There's something bigger. And so I pondered on it and I meditated on it. And what I got was the fact that I'm here to bring souls into life and out of life safely. To me at the time, I thought, what? What on earth does that mean? So as time went on and small children, I put that to bed, as quite often we all do. Then it prodded me and poked me for time upon time. And then I thought, okay, let's go and study. So I studied naturopathy, nutrition, fertility, lactation, all the things that I'd gone through. I was really formalising what I already knew, but it was just something that I felt I needed to do as my next steps. I went on to study with doctors and alternative practitioners and in hospitals and different environments to gain knowledge and really to relive what I already knew. But this is in hindsight. As I got stronger and I moved on, my marriage fell apart, which happens to many women. But out of that comes a strength sometimes. You have to come up, you have to bring yourself up, you have to get out there, you have to do things, you have to connect. And, sometimes it's the best thing that can happen, even though at the time it's quite traumatic. For me, it was so traumatic, I ended up in a near-death experience. I was 44 by that stage. And what happened was I was really unwell for months afterwards, but it moved me. It moved me nearer to my reality of my success, of my calling, I call it. So what happened was I ended up moving to my own home. I opened a clinic. I had 15 practitioners, very successful. And after 5 years, it started disintegrating. I remember standing on the threshold of my home and saying, if all this was to go away, I would still be me. I was really meaning the material things. Be careful what you ask for and what you say, because over the next year, I sold my house. My mum had cancer. My dad passed away. My partner at the time found someone else, and my car blew up on the freeway. I was left with really no material possessions, so to speak. And I decided, what am I going to do next? So I went back to my roots. After 30 years, I went back to the UK, but I also, in that time frame, went to different spiritual places around the world using the UK as a base. It was just a calling that I had. And after those 6 months, I guess it was time out, I went back to Australia and I continued my work and realised that I had been already living my success, but hadn't really taken on board the fact that what I was living and what I possessed were 2 different things. So fast forwarding a little bit, I would like to just say to any woman, you will get more resilience and more strength from moving on and taking action. If you feel you're stuck somewhere, reach out to other women. They'll help you, they'll support you, they'll guide you. We are all here for each other. So listening to my heart, my life experiences make me who I am today. They will make you who you are today. They're not always pleasant. There will be many tales out there that can tell you it's not pleasant sometimes, but in those low times of our life, they can be really low. They give us the perspective of what it's like to have the highs, to have the heart opened. There's a strength that's reborn, a resilience that grows like a tree. It has its roots in the ground. It weathers the storms, but it enjoys the calm that surrounds it as well. It just loves its environment, whatever it brings. It's ready and waiting. The last couple of years have been really, really difficult for most people in one form or another. It may not be personally, it might be what's gone on around you, or, many of us have been separated from loved ones, etc. But it's given us time to think, or that's what I believe, it's given us time out to go, what does our success really mean? Where are we headed? What is actually going on in the world? What can we do about it? Now, some of us, well, everybody, I think, got that wake-up call. I don't think there's anybody on earth that knew what was going on that didn't sort of go, what's going on, and got shaken around and rattled. But some have put it back to bed as we get back to what we call some normality and are back to their daily duties and have forgotten. But there's many others who are standing up now and saying, right, where are we headed? What's it going to be like for our next generation and the generations beyond? I have 3 grandchildren. What sort of a life do I want to leave them? For me, it's all about health. I'm about health. If you don't have your health, there's not much you can do. So, I'm collecting conscious hearts around the world. Conscious hearts, bringing them together, helping each other to be healthy, have fabulous well-being. And well-being, I mean, there's five factors that we need for our well-being. We need to connect. How many of us haven't connected? How many of us haven't hugged loved ones? We've really got the message. We need to connect. We need to give unconditionally, not conditionally, unconditionally. We need to learn something every day, whether it's just, it could be just anything very simple, but it's learning about you and something that you've learned about yourself. Taking notice of the signposts. Now, women are very good at this. Women tend to notice everything, sometimes more than is good for us, but we notice everything. And it's noticing the signposts. I'm talking here about your health, your mental health, your physical health. Take notice, take action and do something. Reach out to somebody. Because if we're not living our heart's message, if we're not living in our heart's expression and we're not doing our work, we will get ill. Noticing those little signposts along the way may stop you from having the huge dips in life that are sometimes harder to get out of than a smaller one. Really, really, really implore you to get your life and your health reset when it needs to be. Listen to yourself. Be active. There's nothing to do but action to take. I say that to nearly all my clients. Take action. Sometimes it seems ridiculous. It seems like, I can't do that. Or someone close to you says, you can't do that. But your heart's saying something else. Sometimes it seems totally off the wall, something that, it's not going to take me anywhere, but it leads you to often the next stage of your life, which is a blessing. Hearts need to be shattered. I hate to say this to you, but hearts, when they are broken, give you the strength that you need to move on. If we protect our heart so much that we don't allow anything or anybody in, or our heart to open and express itself, we will become ill. It'll be the best thing you've ever done. believe me. There's this little saying, a healthy human has, I'm reading this one, a healthy human has 1,000 wishes, a sick human has just one. Fall in love with taking care of your mind and body. Health is the foundation of everything. If you haven't got your health, you can't get on with what you love. And as you get older, you'll understand more and more that it's not about what you look like or what you own. It's about the person you've become. And we can only do that through going through life's experiences when they're presented to us. I'd just like to leave you with the thought that you can do anything. The reality of your success is yours. It's nobody else's. Moving on to your health and getting the best that you can out of your well-being is up to you. Notice the signposts. Be kind, connect, give as if you have no tomorrow, and you will have a life that is very different from one you ever imagined. I want to thank my children. They have been my biggest teachers. My firstborn, my daughter, opened my heart. She gave me this heart. My son gave me this pearl when he came back from America. My daughter opened my heart. My son reminded me of my pearls of wisdom. Listen to the children. Listen to them. Don't denounce what they're about, because they are the ones that are telling us what the future is going to be. But we need to take the action to help them, to bring it forward. So my lesson for today, if there's a lesson or something I'd just like to leave you with, is to live your success every day. It could be little. It could be just in bringing somebody up in the world by saying something good to them. It could just be giving somebody, a little posy of roses out of your garden or flowers. It could be smiling at someone. And how often can we do that with a mask on, dare I say? But smiling at people, you can smile at them with your eyes. It uplifts everybody. We need to uplift each other. Live your success every day, and please live from your heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time from your busy schedule to be the guest speaker today in She Real She Boy. Your presence and wise word actually has helped magnify our cause for today in the best possible way. Thank you once again.